Story time. What led me to become a voice actor? It kind of started in high school. I was a member of drama club, and the same teacher who was in charge of drama club was also in charge of morning announcements. And of course, she heard me talk, and she was like, "Oh, you should do the morning announcements." And I ended up doing the morning announcements every year for all 7 years I was in high school. I'm joking, 4 years. Then it came time to graduate, and my guidance counselor asked me what I planned on doing after graduation. And of course, I was like a slacker kid, and I didn't really have any plans. So she talked to me about the Ohio Center for Broadcasting. It's a school where you learn radio and television production here in Ohio. And I figured, yeah, I could be a radio DJ. And I ended up signing up. I started that September. It was only a 1-year crash course, but I spent the whole year there, graduated. But in that year, I realized I didn't want to be a radio DJ. Through all the courses and everything, I discovered voiceover. Guess I got to make a part 2. Storytime part 2. So while going to the Ohio Media School, I ended up realizing that being a radio DJ isn't exactly for me. I mean, I was pretty good at it, but I just wanted something different. But while I was studying at the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, I realized that voiceover was like kind of its own entity within itself. So I graduated with like tentative plans to start pursuing the career. But at the time, I was in a band that was pretty popular in my city. I was a manager at Pizza Hut, and I thought that, I was doing big things. You know what I mean? I was a dumb 19-year-old kid. And I ultimately got really, really distracted from my original goals, and the music and the pizza shop ended up taking over. But then a buddy of mine who makes independent films, he was working on something and he needed a voice for his trailer. And I'm out of time again. Part 3 coming, I guess. Storytime part 3. One important thing I forgot to mention is that I graduated high school in 2008 and went to the Ohio Center for Broadcasting in 2009. So this part happens roughly around 2010 or 2011. But anyway, so my friend was making an independent film and needed a voice for his trailer. He calls me up, he rented out a studio, and we got to work. And while in the studio and reading over the copy and recording everything, that spark kind of lit again. And I had one of those moments when I came home that night where I just sat on my bed and I just thought about life, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here playing games in this pizza shop when I have this voice and this talent and I could be actually doing something with it? So I took a couple of years to kind of really just research the industry, and I had no fucking clue that voiceover was such a massive industry within itself. I thought I was going to be a big fish in a small pond. I was wrong. Part 4 coming. Part 4. So while researching the industry, I realized very quickly that my radio broadcast training was not going to be enough. There are way more people in the voiceover industry than I thought. These people are phenomenal, way better than at the time I thought I could ever be. And that these people worked for years to get where they were. So I ended up joining a bunch of Facebook voiceover groups, and I started to pick people's brains, and I ended up making a lot of good friends, and a lot of people ended up kind of mentoring me and answering questions. And one common trope that kept coming up was that I needed a dedicated voiceover coach, because like I said, I had training in radio broadcasting, but voiceover is an entirely different entity with an entirely different skill set. So I found a coach, worked with them, and then it came time to cut my demo. All right, so I guess we need part 5. Hopefully this will be the last one. Storytime part 5, and I'm in different clothes right now because I'm home because this has taken so long. So my first demo was done, and it came time to get out in the real world, start to market it, try and find some representation, and actually become a voice actor. Now, mind you, throughout all of this, I've been doing small voiceovers here and there for independent films and stuff like that, just because I had the voice. But that doesn't mean that I had the experience to really make this a career. This was that point. So by this time, we're at about 2015. I'm still working other jobs, but in the background, I'm building a studio. I'm reaching out to companies who hire voice talent. I'm building a website. I'm creating a logo. And then I start to book work, real work. I start to land my first real consistent clients that are paying real rates. But again, I'm still working a different job full time. Damn it, there's got to be a part 6. Storytime part 6, this will be the last one. So over these last few years, I was working these other jobs full-time while doing voiceover in the background, and I would get so bored and aggravated with these desk jobs that I would literally every year have to find another job because I would get bored with it. And when I get bored with things, I stop doing them well. So last year, after contemplating quitting my about 12th full-time job, yes, that's 12 jobs I had in about 10 years, I said to myself, it's time to take the leap. So I took about 6 to 8 months to save up, clear debt, and really get my ducks in a row. And then about July of last year, I put in my 2 weeks notice at my full-time desk job. And I've been a full-time voice actor ever since. And I've been blessed enough to say that it is working out pretty well. I missed some key points throughout these 6 videos, but that's the gist. Hope I didn't bore you.